Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how I bought a clinic with no money down or industry experience in my early 20s. This deal made me the youngest person in Australia, in Australian history, to acquire a healthcare company with no money down. So I'm going to get straight into it, as always, keeping it as simple as possible. First thing I did, before I looked into the deals, before I looked into the money, I built my board. Built my board of directors. So why did I build a board of directors? Okay, early 20s, I quit my job, I was a nobody. No one knew who I was, I didn't have money, I didn't have credibility, I had nothing. So why build a board? What's the first C? Tell me, what's the first C? If you've been watching my shit, what is the first C? It is credibility. That is 80% of the reason why I built my board. The 20% is expertise. Right? So, big reason, credibility. These are people that are seasoned, world-class professionals who are now backing me, supporting me. They've put their name, their brand, their reputation behind me and my vision, my company. And also, expertise. Because I've never been in healthcare. Never been a CEO of a healthcare company. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. When I started, I knew nothing about how clinics made their money. I knew they saw patients, and that was it. I didn't understand how fucking insurance worked, how third parties worked, none of that shit. So that's why I needed people who did. Okay, so why credibility? Credibility, so now, rather than it's just Josh Lee, I can walk into a bank, I can walk to a seller and say, no, I'm the founder of JC Health Group, and this is my team. And when they see fucking world-class professionals, they're gonna think, oh shit, these guys are the real deal, which we are. And I was very serious. But if it was just Josh Lee, then it's just like, oh, he's just some kid that wants to buy my business. Or there's just some kid that wants money. There's just some kid and some startup, right? That's why you need the board. And expertise, obviously, because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I had guys across the legal, the finance, leadership, industry, experts, right? So anytime I had a problem with, or question, or something I didn't know, about, say, the legal, the policies, the healthcare stuff, lease arrangements, I could go to my legal guy. Anything about deal structuring, financial stuff, I could go to my finance guy. And anything about the operations, like whether it's staff arrangements, whether it's just operational shit, whether it's industry nuance, I could go to my industry experts. And I had my big dog, my big leader that was helping me lead my team, my chairman. And by the way, if you don't know who my chairman is, his name's Richard Alston. He is the former ambassador to the UK. Worked very closely with the Queen, chairman of one of the world's largest hedge funds. Big dog, and same with all my other guys. Big dogs in their own right, and I used their credibility and expertise to springboard my own credibility, springboard my own expertise. Right, because that's the best way to learn from people who have actually done this shit. The worst place to learn is actually from school, where it's all theory fucking. Anyway, that was the first thing I did. First thing I did was build my board. So I had credibility and expertise behind me. What did I do from here? I engaged my... I engaged my professionals. So these were my lawyers and my accountants. Now, these guys are top tier firms. Not the big four. I didn't opt for the big four, but I will be soon. Didn't opt for the big four, but I needed people who with a recognized name and with the capabilities beyond just your little chicken shit uncle or your fucking brother who's an accountant. You don't want to use them. No one knows who they are. Their brand holds no weight. So very similar to why I built the board, 80% of it was credibility. So the legal and accounting firms that I got needed to have the same kind of credibility to propel my reputation, my credibility. So, but how did I engage them on a no money down basis, right? Remember, I bought a clinic with no money down or industry experience. So I built my board with no money down. I got my professionals with no money down. And obviously the next step's no money down. I'll get into that. But essentially, what you're looking for is delayed or rolled fees. Delayed or rolled fees. That's the key to getting top tier work and no money down. And don't be afraid to pay a premium for these things. Right? A premium for the privilege of delayed or rolled fees. The reason why these firms are going to accept your request for delayed or rolled fees is because of your fucking board, right? If I was just Josh Lear, walked into these accounting firms, law firms, and I said, I want delayed rolled fees, they'd be like, fuck off. Go away, kid. But because I presented with my board, they said, this is promising. I also knew what to say, said the right things, beyond just talking shit at my ass. I said the right things, I presented well, I was in a full suit, right? Had the hair done, not like today, but I was sexy, professional, had a sexy team behind me, and that's why these guys said, yeah, let's work with these guys. Let's hedge our bets on this motherfucker. So that's how you get the lawyers and accountants, and that is your team, right? These things are your team. You got your internal team and your external team. And you want them to work in tandem. Alright, next thing. What did I do from here? After I got my professionals, after I built my team, what is it again? GTFM. What does that stand for? Get the fucking money. Alright? So my first deal actually didn't need to use the banks, but you should start establishing relationships with bankers, investors, lenders, financiers of all kinds, right? You want as many relationships with people who have the money. Primarily the bankers. Bankers are your go-to. If you've watched my other material, you'll know why commercial debt is the go and not private equity or investor capital, private investor capital, or seed funding, shit like that. We want commercial debt. People who can lend us money without us giving away equity. People who can just lend us money on the basis of free cash flow. And when we're going to interview these people, that's the key thing. You interview these people. You don't fucking go in there and beg for money. You go in there to interview them and see if they're the right financial partner for you. Right? So we're looking for criteria. Process. How do you like to lend? How do you lend? What's your process? What's your credit process? Are you a branch-based lender or are you institutionalized? What's your criteria? What are the metrics you work with? DSCRs, ICRs, right? LTVs. What are your criterias? When you start spewing this kind of language, then these bankers know you know your shit and you're serious. And again, remember, why are these bankers taking you a little bit more seriously? It's because of your board and your professionals. When you slap their logo, when you slap their name against your material and you present it to the bankers and say, this is who I am, this is what my company does, this is who we are, we're looking for financial partners. And you start spewing these questions, LTV, DSCR, ICR, they're going to be like, yep, they're going to answer your questions. They're going to fucking drop their panties, be like, holy shit, someone that finally understands the banking world. I want to work with this guy. And they're going to tell you exactly what they need to approve loans, to give you the money. You basically do the same process with the investors and any other kind of financiers. In parallel with getting the fucking money, you want to be... What does GTFD stand for? Get the fucking deals. Deals. Okay? So while you're looking for the money, you're also looking for deals. So you see how we started not backwards, we started the right way. We started by building our credibility and expertise rather than looking for the money and the deals, which is what most people do when they try to find businesses. They go to brokers, they fucking pay deposits to look at deals, and they go into banks and they beg for money. We're going the opposite way because we want to hit a home run. We don't want to hit first base, second base, third base. We want to hit the fucking home run. Okay. So we're finding the money and we're finding the deals. How do we find the deals? Let's see if I can draw nicely. Holy fuck. What does that look like to you? Call businesses and business owners directly. Avoid brokers. You don't want to go to brokers, fucking brokies, because they're shit. They're genuinely retarded. Right? For the most part, they are genuinely retarded. Maybe you'll come across a few good business brokers out there in your time, but in my experience, holy shit. Brokers are just... They pretend like they know shit, but what's on their mind? What is the number one thing on their mind when they're presenting to a potential buyer? The commission, the money. They want to make their money. How do they make their money? They try to maximize the purchase price, the value of business, and sell it to some idiot who's not going to question it, right? They have all these processes and templates and frameworks in place to get you to fucking buy their way. So avoid brokers. Fuck brokers. I'm going to do this in red. Fuck, it's not thick enough. But fuck brokers. Sometimes they're good though. If you know how to negotiate, you know how to lead, you know how to grab them by the balls or the pussy, then brokers can be good. But I would avoid brokers. I would call people. This is how I find all my deals, right? I find all my deals through cold call, cold email, cold LinkedIn, LinkedIn DMs, right? And I have a very special tool that no one talks about. I'll give you a little clue. That's the clue that I'm going to give you as to what the tool is. It's not Apollo, but my Owners Academy members, they all have this. They all use this. Very easy to use, very easy to find email addresses of people. But yes, you can use Apollo to find mobile numbers. You can use, what is it called? Zoom info as well, if you don't mind spending a little bit of money. But again, remember, what are we doing? We are buying shit with no money down. So you can actually just Google businesses, ChatGPT fuck, Gemini fuck, get a list of businesses, just call them directly. Ask to speak with the boss. Better yet, if you can spend a little bit of time to go through Apollo, my special tool, LinkedIn, and find the direct email addresses and direct phone numbers of these sellers, even better. But essentially, that's what you do to find deals. You get on the phone, you get in touch with them, get in front of them, and just ask, have you ever thought about selling? And then you have the conversation. Have you ever thought about selling? How much do you want? What's your revenue? What's your bottom line? What are you expecting? And then request the information. From here, start crunching numbers, start talking business, I'll give you some source here. 3 years financials plus tax returns. That's the core of what you'll need to see before you make an offer. Right? A lot of people will make offers based on the first interaction. I only ever make an offer once I've seen your 3 years financials and tax returns at a minimum. I would also like to get because I'm in clinical healthcare, the billings of practitioners, right? And what this basically is, on a general basis, is your revenue breakdown. So basically how they make their money. How's their money split? All right, where does their money come from? In clinical healthcare, obviously we have practitioners, doctors, right? We want to see how much each doctor pulls in. And the billings of the practitioners should equal the revenue that we see in the financials and the tax returns, assuming they're not cheating, right? If they're cheating, that's another way for you to discount their business. So these are the things you want to see on an initial basis. Before you do that, you can probably sign a confidentiality agreement, or NDA, as most people like to call it, especially people in the States. NDA, man. Once you get that, get the financials, and then you make your offer. Offer can be in the form of an LOI or NBIO. LOI or NBIO, you can be lazy fuck and use AI to give you a template, or you can do the professional thing, the right thing, and ask your legal guy from your board to draft you an LOI or NBIO template. And in terms of where you get your confidentiality agreement or NDA templates, again, you can get them online. But again, these are just stock standard. I would get your legal guy to give this to you, or even your legal firm, right? This is very easy to get. These documents are very stock standard. It should be very easy for a top tier firm to just be, yeah, just take it. Just take it. It's fuck all. If they're going to charge you, they're only going to charge you like, let's assuming you have no money, it's a lot of money, but they're only going to charge you $1,000 or $2,000 for a proper confidentiality agreement, non-disclosure agreement. But your LOI, NBIO, you kind of want your internal team to be across that too. So it's wise to get that from your legal guy, your internal team, your internal legal guy. My legal guy opts for an NBIO, non-binding indicative offer. It's my philosophy is we can cover off 80% of the conditions up front. So when we get to the contract of sale, what is it? What was some other terms of it? Anyway, contract of sale, we don't have to be going back and forth on conditions that we want. We can actually just specify conditions that we want up front. 80% of the conditions that we're going to have in the contract of sale, we're just going to put in the NBIO. Take it or leave it. Whereas typically with LOIs, I mean, depending on where you are, your practices, but typically with LOIs, they're a little bit more open-ended, right? So through due diligence, we can add shit to it before we get to the contract of sale. The business, that's right, that's what it's called. Business purchase agreement. So depending on where you are, what region you're in, you call these things different things, but essentially the contract of sale. You can still do this DD process and like fuck around with the offer because it's non-binding, right? The LOI and the NBIO, it's non-binding. So it's very open to adjustments, revisions, depending on what you find in due diligence, right? But the key thing in due diligence is quality of earnings. Quality of earnings. That's the main thing you're looking for. And quality of earnings encompasses many things within the business. And there are obviously many other aspects beyond that, beyond just the numbers. But guess who's going to help you? Guess who's going to help you find out what to look for? Your board. By the way, your board, when you collectively build your board, you should have fucking 200 years of collective experience, right? And over like, at least 100 million. That's easy. At least $100 million worth of transaction value led, right? Across all your guys that you build. This kind of little benchmark that you're looking for. Ideally higher than that, but in terms of years of experience, right, these are people who've gone through the gamut, run the gamut, they've done their deals, they've run and gunned the corporate world, they understand exactly what needs to be done, and you're using them for expertise. But here we are. So once you get in touch with the owner, you confidentiality, get the 3 years, tax return, revenue breakdown, you review that with your team, make an offer in the form of an LOI or NBIO, and you start going through DD. Once they sign that NBIO or LOI, you go through DD before you get to a contract of sale. In DD, the key thing you're looking for is the quality of earnings. And now with the quality of earnings, if you're gonna finance Okay, this is what I didn't talk about. If you're going to finance a business, there are 4 ways. 4 ways. Vendor finance, vendor rollover, commercial debt, and investor capital. So I closed my first deal 100% vendor finance. But if you're going to get financing from the banks, so commercial debt, then you need the quality of earnings. You need the quality of earnings from your accounting firm. From your accounting firm, you get the quality of earnings and they present on your behalf. Right? Remember, they're credible, they're reputable, everyone knows who they are in the industry, or even globally or even nationally. They're the ones presenting to the banks on your behalf, saying, hey, this is my client, this is the business they're looking at, this is what we need, this is the quality of earnings, here's our forecast, blah, blah, blah. They talk their finance geek shit and they get the money for you. You have to lead that process though. But how I closed my first deal was 100% vendor finance. And the term was basically 100% of the purchase price deferred over 7 years with a 4% interest. Those were the 3 kind of key areas. 100%, 7 years, 4% interest. Seller stayed on. Seller stays on minimum 3 years. And the one thing that's going to either make your balls tingle or make your balls shrink is if you default at any point, if you don't make these payments, and these were paid monthly, if we don't make any of these payments, there's a little period where the seller can exercise an option to take the whole business back for $1. So that was the thing that we negotiated, right? Because we provided no security, no guarantees. Fuck all. We provided nothing. But we got the business. We got the asset. And conventionally, we overpaid, but, who cares? Who cares when you're not putting anything down, right? And this model, this deal that I did, I told this to my billionaire mentor, who's an energy titan, who's going to be powering your future, and you're probably using the materials in your devices from his company, or will be from his company. But he told me, and he comes from a private equity investment background, done lots of big deals. He's told me he's never seen someone do a deal like this. 100% vendor finance. How the fuck did you negotiate? No guarantees, no security. How did you negotiate all this to the close? So in essence, my billionaire mentor was calling me a genius. So this is why you should fucking listen to me. This is why you should need to listen to me, because this is how I bought a clinic with no money down or any industry experience in my early 20s, making me the youngest motherfucker in Australia to get this done. And my billionaire mentor even said he's never seen this shit before. So that's essentially how I did it. To give you a little recap, built my team, internal, external team, and then from there, get the money, interview bankers, interview lenders, interview all the people who have the money, all the people who could potentially give me money, and go get the fucking deals. Go find the deals. Hit the phones, hit the emails, spam that shit. You guys underestimate the amount of volume required to succeed, not only in business, but in life, right? Life is all a fucking numbers game, and you need to hit the numbers. You need to make more calls than you realize. I always say, 1,000 cold calls will change your life in any field that you go into, whether it's sales, whether it's the marketing, whether it's freelancing, whatever the fuck you do. Even if you're in the corporate world, if you make 1,000 calls, there is absolutely no chance that you don't succeed, because at the end of it, if you make no money from 1,000 calls, something's wrong. But ultimately, you should be developing your skills. You should be developing your confidence. You should be developing your communication. You should be developing your tonality and messaging and all that shit, your communication skills. But if you're making 1,000 calls and you're not making any money, I don't know what to tell you, right? How can you go through 1,000 reps of something and not get results? Right? So when it comes to finding the deals, More calls is the answer. More calls, more emails, more link fucking, more Apollo, more. Until you find the motivated seller. That's the key thing here. And that's the thing I didn't mention. How you get all this done with no money down is the motivated seller. You got to get the motivated fucking seller. This guy or gal needs to be serious about selling the business. They need to be serious about moving on, handing the reins over to someone, and preferably to someone that's bright, ambitious, smart, professional, has a fucking team behind them, right? Again, credibility. This changes the whole dynamic when you get in front of the money and the deals. When you present to a motivated seller, maybe this motivated seller has engaged other people and has other people interested in buying the business. But then you come along and you say the right things, you look the part, you've got a team behind you, and you say, you can trust me, I will look after your business, I will pay you the money that you want, and I will look after your team, I'll look after your legacy. Who are they going to choose? Like, are they going to choose the random Joe Schmo, or are they going to choose the Josh Lee with the JC Health Group and the team and this and that? Right? You get the point. But that's the key. Motivated seller. And it doesn't matter why they're looking to sell the business. You're looking for the fact that they are motivated to sell the business, they're serious to move forward, and the business is profitable and cash flowing and has no fucking skeletons in the closet. Those are the keys. Those are the keys. So that's it. That's how I closed. That's how I bought a clinic with no money down or industry experience in my early 20s. That's how I launched my healthcare company. In how long did it take? In less than 30 minutes, I just explained the whole model to you. Right? So you've got no excuses as to why you can't do this. And by the way, I didn't start with any special background, I had fuck all. All I had was a belief in myself to be able to get this shit done, to be able to get in front of people, to recruit on my team, to get in front of these senior professionals, to join my shit, to believe in my vision, and ultimately getting the fucking money, getting the fucking deals, having the conviction to say, I can do this. I know I can do this. I'm better than the other fuckers. Give me the shot. Put your bets on me. I will get this done. That's all you need. The balls and the conviction to do it. If you're female, the tits or whatever is the equivalent, have the conviction to just be able to, in yourself and in your vision, to get this shit done. I'm not going to ramble for any longer. I hope this makes sense to you. And if you want access to all this shit in detail, you know where to go. Link is in the bio. Join the academy. Stop being a coward. Make the leap.